Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. So really quickly before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, don't be a stranger, make sure you leave a thumbs up, also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So with that being said, today I'm going to be doing my kind of 3-month review of the TCL 50XL. And I really wanted to like this phone, however, I see why this phone is priced at 170 bucks. So we're going to talk a little bit about the design, the performance, the camera experience. Hopefully by the end of this video, the price of this phone will make sense to you guys. So the back of the phone is made out of this kind of fake leather material, and it really is fake, so it feels like plastic. It tries its best to look like leather, but reality is it is plastic, and it looks decent. However, when you grab it and actually hold the phone, you'll immediately notice that it doesn't even feel anywhere remotely close to leather, and the material is, you can tell that's cheaply made. But that's fine, that's where that $170 come from. And on the back you also have this large ring with your camera housing, so you have a triple camera setup with your LED flash. More on that later on. On the bottom of the phone you have your headphone jack, your USB-C, your microphone, and your bottom facing speaker. And the USB-C port does support 18 watt of fast charging, so it's fast but it's not like crazy charging speeds, which is cool. That's fine, it works. The right hand side has your power button / fingerprint sensor, as well as your volume up and down, and these are one of the worst buttons that I've used in a very long time. They're extremely mushy, not that clicky, and not that tactile. So far in the looks department, this is one of those situations that looks can be deceiving. This phone is made out of plastic entirely. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, the quality of the buttons themselves are not that good. And I also have a feeling that the back material itself is going to wear out. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it 6 more months to kind of give you guys my 6-month review of this phone. But we'll see. We'll see. But so far, I'm not really that optimistic. So that's the first thing that will kind of make you think, okay, that $170 price point makes sense. The design looks nice from the outside, but as soon as you grab the phone, you'll immediately feel that the material is not all that great. Okay, so the next in the conversation is the display. And the display is not actually necessarily a bad thing. So you do have a 6.78 2460 by 1080p. It is an IPS LCD panel, so it's not like an OLED screen or anything too outrageously crazy, which is fine. And the bezels on this phone are acceptable. So you do have an 86.3% screen to body ratio, a 396 ppi. So the display quality so far, it gets a pass. Okay. The other thing that you get with this phone is the ability to have a high refresh rate. So you can switch it between auto mode, keep it at 60 Hz if you want to save battery, or even go as far as 120 Hz, which honestly I would keep that on all the time. You might as well take advantage of it. You have it, enjoy it. As far as the details of the display, the sharpness, things like that, this phone is plenty sharp. It's a 1080p display again, and I know it's an IPS panel, which is fine. Again, this is a $170 phone, so for that alone it gets a pass. It still is a pretty decent display. Remember that the Moto G 5G is around the same price, but only caps at 720p, and whenever I get a chance to kind of make fun of that Moto G 5G for having a 720p display, I will, because they could have put 1080p on that panel. But anyway, that's a video for another day. Anyway, yeah, so the display quality is not too shabby. The only thing that, again, would make me question of how good a display is in the brightness department. So under a bright sunlight condition, this phone will not be as good as an OLED panel, or a panel with an extremely high nit rate of like 800 or even 1000 nits. So under harsh sunlight conditions, this phone will be a little bit dimmer and it'll make the experience a little bit harder to use. Everything else about it passes my test. It's a pretty decent display for the most part. And then again, this is another scenario where I feel like I can justify the display to say that it actually is worth more than that $170 price tag. Next in my conversation, and this is also a disappointing thing about this phone, is in the performance department. So here's the spec sheet of this phone. So you do have a MediaTek Dimensity 6100 plus 6nm architecture. It is octa-core. You also have the Mali G57 for your GPU, and you also have 128GB of storage as well as 6GB of RAM. I did a benchmark and it met my kind of low expectations. So $699 for a single core, $1894 for multi-core, which is okay. It's fine. It works. As far as opening up your daily tasks, it does fine. opens up as fast as you would expect. It's not gonna be the greatest experience, but it's fast enough for the average consumer. The one, I would say, downside, or the big downside, is if you want to kind of play heavy demanding games that require a more intensive CPU and GPU performance, then this phone is just not gonna impress you. You might get by having a high demanding game on a really low setting. It will work, but I've seen this phone glitch out more than I would like it to. So that's just been my experience. So this is one of those scenarios that kind of makes you not question the relatively budget-friendly price tag. So next in the conversation is this camera system. So this big ring around the camera has a triple camera setup. You have a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 2 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And the ultra wide is a really low resolution that gives you not that good quality of wide angle pictures. But I did take some photos with this phone, and here's what I have to say. As far as the experience goes, it's pretty smooth for a phone at this price point. So switching between your photo, video app, even going between the main sensor and the wide angle, everything as far as that is very smooth. And this camera also can shoot at 1080p at 30 frames per second. But essentially, here's what I have to say as far as image quality. The images are overblown, so they're kind of bright and overexposed. They're okay under good lighting conditions. You get decent pictures. And as you can see, the wide angle images are not sharp, not detailed. That's just thanks to its low resolution. As far as the video quality goes, it's basic 1080p, and the exposure on this phone and the focusing system is just not good enough to keep up with your movement or anything like that. Even when it kind of switches focus and exposure, you can tell that it's not that good of a quality. However, it's decent. It will most definitely get the job done. And one thing I have to say is that you cannot get access to the wide angle lens while shooting video, unlike other phones. And the dynamic range on here is very okay. This phone does not have optical image stabilization, so the videos are on the shakier side, so keep that in mind. Basically, what I want to say is the bottom line is this. This phone entirely is a $170 phone. They made it to seem like it's worth more just by in the looks department, and the display again is honestly what kind of saves this phone for me. The looks are good, but as soon as you grab the phone, you immediately will be able to tell that this is a kind of relatively budget-friendly device. So with that being said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this phone. Leave it in the comments below if you have it. Tell me your experience and let me know what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.